So why do emotions cause us so many problems? You know, emotional overwhelm is really, really, really hard. When we feel that our emotions are beyond our control, when they're there and they're affecting our day to day, it's a real, real pain. It's a place that I've been in. We lose complete sense of any autonomy in our lives, and we feel like we're at the whim of the next emotional storm that comes through our body. What can we do about it, and why is it happening? More importantly, well, let's look at why it's happening first of all. So emotions are attached to thoughts, they're attached to experiences, and they're attached to ideas and concepts. And what happens is the brain will see something, or it will think something, or it will experience something, and it will attach an emotion to that experience. And the things that it thinks are good for us, it will attach a positive emotion to. And the things it feels are a threat or are things that we don't want to be doing, it will attach a negative emotion to. And so we will, hopefully, the system thinks, move towards the things that it thinks are good for us and move away from the things that it thinks are a threat. Now, this sounds great, sounds really logical, but the problem is that the brain often gets things wrong and it often lies to us. Now, the brain, the evolutionary brain, is only concerned with two things, as I've said many, many times. Yeah, you must get sick of me saying it. It's concerned with getting your genes into the next generation by keeping your status high and keeping you safe from existential threats that are going to end your life. But the brain gets things wrong all the time. It attaches meaning to things. It thinks that things are existential threats when they're not, like a job interview, for example. It will give you the same feelings of fear and anxiety as being attacked by a tiger because it thinks you're going to die. Or it will just lie to us because it would rather be safe than sorry. It will say, you know, let's be scared of this situation, even though it probably isn't a threat, just in case. And so if we follow the brain and follow the emotion that the brain is assigned to experience for us, we live our life at the whim of our emotions. And the only thing that we can do, we think, is that when we get a negative emotion, is to fight it. You know, is to push through, is to resist it, is to deny it. And this is what I did for years and years and years until I had burnout, until I had a panic attack one day when my emotions became so overwhelming that they just took over. They just took over and shut my system down. And I had to do a complete reset and change my entire career. And so we learn pretty much straight away that we can't escape negative emotion. And this is what emotional overwhelm is. When we become so terrified of the emotions that are coming through our body, particularly negative ones, that we feel overwhelmed, we feel that they're gonna burst out of us. We're trying to resist them, but we can feel that pressure, and it gets worse and worse and worse until we have a shutdown or we experience an emotional overwhelm where we're taken over by our emotions. Now, the only way out of this cycle of emotion and overwhelm, thought, emotion, overwhelm, is to do something that sounds really scary, and that's to move towards the feeling. Is to actually experience the emotion, experience it in its entirety, knowing that if you do that something strange happens. If you get in the business of feeling, as I like to say, if you get in the business of actually feeling your emotions, something weird starts to happen. The emotion will get intense, but then it will start to fade. As we stop to resist it, the emotion will start to fade, and in some cases, it will disappear entirely. All we have to do is take a moment to actually feel the experience of our emotions. Really, really, really feel them. Now, what makes this difficult is the story that we attach to that emotion. So we'll feel something, say anxiety. So when I get anxiety, I get a tightness in my chest. It's a very sharp sort of bubbly pressure, it feels like, in my chest. Okay. Now, when this happens, or when it used to happen, what I would do is I would go, oh my God, I'm feeling anxious. And then I'd be telling myself all the stories about why I was anxious. What am I anxious for? I'd also be thinking about why I was anxious, how to solve it, what the problems were that had made me anxious. And I would be in the brain, I would feel the emotion, and this would spike more thoughts. And there would be this cycle of emotion and thought just going through my body until I felt very, very overwhelmed. Sometimes I could deny it and push through, and other times it would just completely overwhelm me. And then I learned a technique that involved just being with your experience, being with the emotion in the body, of moving towards that emotion and actually feeling it. And then every time the brain wanted to think about the emotion, I would just come back to the feeling and say, what does this actually feel like in the body? What is this sensation in the body? Without a story attached. The mind would wander off and I would come back and I would just keep feeling that sensation as a sensation. And I would start to scan it and say, what does it feel like? Oh yeah, it feels slightly sharp, it feels slightly tight, oh, it feels bubbly, it feels like it's moving through my body. And then my mind would wander and it would start telling stories about why I was feeling that, and I would just drop that why and I would come back to the raw data of the experience. And the more I did that, the more I realized that because I was watching the emotion and feeling the emotion, I wasn't actually the emotion. Very often, I attached my identity to that anxiety. I saw it as weakness, I saw it as a problem, I saw it as me. What I started to realize is that I wasn't that sensation had just arisen. And actually, I was the thing that was watching the sensation. I was the consciousness that was viewing the sensation and experiencing it. And I also started to notice that that consciousness was unchanged by it. It was separate by it. It was separate from it. And that separation allowed me to experience the emotion as it was, as a sensation. And then eventually watch it arise and pass away in that consciousness. And once I've done that, the emotions never really had the same effect on me again. I could watch them arise, I could watch them pass away. And I started to identify to the aspects of myself that was watching. Now, that aspect of myself is the present mind, and I've talked about that a lot on other videos, and it's a big module in my course, the Mind Hackers Method, which is in my school account below. And if you're interested in getting more information about that, then just click on the link and access the community. But in the meantime, what I want you to do is, when you're feeling overwhelmed and when you're feeling these emotions, I just want you to get into the business of feeling, okay? Get into the business of coming back to that experience of the emotion in the body. Just imagine, feel what that feeling is. Imagine it floating in a space. Try and open up around it and just feel that emotion as much as you can. And just see what happens. It is the resistance that is stopping you letting that emotion go. And sometimes when we've got really powerful and intense emotions, it is difficult to let them go. I understand that, totally. But the way we begin to do that is by really inviting them to be there. Just invite that sensation to be there. And there's lots of techniques that you can learn to do that. So hopefully I'll see you in the school and we can learn some more about them. Thanks very much.